Soren Aldaco, an ambassador with Independent Women and a detransitioner, and Abraham Enriquez is a former Trump surrogate and Republican strategist. Welcome to you both. So, Soren, I would love to start with you here. Your story was featured in this bombshell new report. So, speak to us about your firsthand experience being misled to transition.
Thank you. Like many people my age, I'm 24, right? I was introduced to the internet too young. And on the internet, I ended up in the dark corner of the internet. And that was where I was sexually groomed and discovered transgender ideology. It offered me an escape from what was a very painful girlhood. And it remained a role play identity for many years until age 15 when a doctor affirmed it as related to all my mental health issues for the first time. At age 17, I was prescribed hormones by a nurse practitioner in a local support group I was attending. And at age 19, I underwent a double mastectomy that went horribly wrong, was botched, and then my doctors abandoned me. Less than 6 months later, I detransitioned and I have been living in alignment with my sex for almost 5 years now.
Wow. Soren, thank you so much for sharing that. Your voice, we were talking about earlier, is just so important to hear on this issue. Abraham, curious to get your perspective, too, because the Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services pinning the blame on the Biden administration. Let's take a listen.
The previous administration, my predecessor, Richard Levine, promoted what he called gender-affirming care for minors, and there's nothing caring about that. These are sex-rejecting, mutilating, transgender procedures promoted by the Biden administration, and thanks to President Trump's leadership, we're changing course.
Abraham, do you believe the Biden-era policies are promoting transgender treatments? Are they to blame here?
Listen, I think that if there's one thing that we can make sure of the Biden administration is that they were gung-ho, obsessed with getting to minors in America. And just as Soren's testimony is powerful, I think every American, especially parents in America, are happy that we have Vice President Vance overseeing this. But look, I think insurance companies, they'll go to war against a grandmother, fighting for over a month to get her knee brace, but won't blink an eye for puberty blockers for underage children. But I think right now, the question really is 225 clinics. That is a scale problem. These aren't just a handful of outlier clinics. We need to investigate, as Vice President rightfully said, what is the incentives of clinics seeing underage children as this mechanism to detransition or puberty block, and what is the structure that allows them to scale so quickly? I think what Vice President's doing is giving folks like Soren and her family a fighting chance at true ideology in America.
So, Soren, what would your message be to children that are in similar circumstances to where you were? And how would you like to see the process unfold from when a child approaches their parents or anyone else about, the thoughts that they're having? So, again, your message, and then what do you want to see happen, and how should they approach it?
Well, it's important to remember that you're perfect as you are, that growth takes time. And if you don't feel comfortable in your body now, that doesn't tell you what you're going to feel like in 5 years or in 10 years. We hear it from people older than us all the time, but the things you're feeling now are temporary, and that's okay. Now, I'd like to see more accountability and transparency in the medical process. I'd like to see a medical process that brings parents in as experts on their children instead of putting medicine and parents in opposition to one another. I think the process needs to be more collaborative, and it needs to be more respectful of the family unit as a whole.
Abraham, what do you make of this DOJ report that they found $50 million in fraudulent insurance claims promoting these types of surgeries? Why was this happening? Was this basically just a money grab for a lot of these providers to get children to sign up for these procedures so they would reap the profits and rewards?
Listen, going back to the Biden administration, I think Soren did much more in the sentence of awareness than the 4 years the Biden administration ever did to protect children. So I think it's just about priorities, and the Biden administration clearly put tax breaks and incentives and taxpayer money for things that are actually anti-American values, and that's why understanding the issues every single election is truly important for every single parent, because the fight for the values our country holds dear could not be more at stake, and we're seeing it through issues like this.
Information, truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.